Live from Husker Harvest Days, this is the Sunrise Report. This special presentation is brought to you by the Nebraska Farm Bureau. Now let's go to the grounds for today's Husker Harvest Days Sunrise Report. Here's Bryce Duskett and Susan Littlefield.
Good morning from the third and final day of Husker Harvest Days. Bryce Duskett, Susan Littlefield back with you. Today is September 12th of 2019.
It is going to be the best day of Husker Harvest Days. It is beautiful weather in store. If you were out here yesterday or the day before, it was a little warm at times.
Warm. It was downright hot, Susan. I'm going to call it hot.
All right. But we kept everybody very much hydrated with all the water we had here in our booth. But today it's going to be a gorgeous day, a good time to come out, talk to a lot of the vendors, look for what you're looking for, get some stuff brought home that you might need to get through harvest or even towards next year, and livestock equipment as well. There's so much to see.
There was a little rain overnight. We had some chances of severe storms. I think most of those stayed to the west. Got a little bit of rain here. We'll talk more about that with Matt coming up. But showgrounds, there's no issues this morning as it appears by our view.
Not at all. Parking was very easy for us this morning. Not of the issues we've seen in many years past because of all the amazing upgrades that they've done here at the show.
Coming up on today's Sunrise Report, of course, brought to you by the Nebraska Farm Bureau. We'll look back with a special report from Clay Patton yesterday. We'll get a day ahead preview as Susan talks with Matt Youngman. He's standing by with that. We've got a weather report with our forecaster, Bill Boyer. He's back for the third day. Give us a little outlook on what's going to happen. And, of course, check out some of the Husker Harvest Days Eats. We'll take you to the pork plate. Looking forward to that. And you and I might even get some breakfast out of that deal.
And the thing is, I have been coming to, this is going to age me, but 22 years. This is my 22nd Husker Harvest Days, and I still have not found out what that secret sauce is on top of those bacon burgers.
We might be able to find that out today. We'll see.
Investigative reporting.
Yeah, it's a tough job. Somebody has to do it. Well, let's get to it. In our first special report, as we look back, Clay Patton found a group from Nebraska that's helping disabled farmers get back into their fields and into their tractors. So Clay has this report for us.
Yes, that's right. There's a central Nebraska company that is making a difference in the lives of farmers who may be disabled. That's Kelly Sales Service, partnered with AgroAbility through UNL. I'm talking with Kelly Florell along with Ron Peterson. And Kelly, you're with Kelly Sales and Service. You're the man that's putting this plan into action. You're helping build these vehicles. Kind of walk us through what an end product looks like.
Well, we have one right here that's very close to what we would do. This is a hydro bed. These arms will fold back. They'll actually made for bales, load bales on and off. You can attach a post hole digger onto it, a wire onto it, or we can hook it up to a squeeze chute, or they have a dump box attachment as well. It can be operated remote control from in the pickup seat or out behind the vehicle as well. This is a feeder that we have that you can back up, and the pickup will actually, the bale bed will pick up the feeder, set it up on the truck, and you can just operate it all from the seat without exiting the pickup.
And Rod, for almost 20 years, you've been overseeing this program and helping it with Nebraskans across it. Talk about how this is changing lives.
Well, we work with farmers and ranchers with disabilities, and we work with the assistive technology end. And this is an amazing piece of assistive technology. Anytime you have a farmer with a disability that needs some additional assistance to get his work done, this is the type of equipment that we go to. The remote control features, the wire winder, the post hole digger, all of those items are very important to a farmer who may not have the mobility or the physical strength to do that. And so Kelly, we've worked closely with Kelly through the years to provide this assistive technology to farmers and ranchers. Through vocational rehabilitation, the state of Nebraska is the general funder for most of this equipment. We do the on-farm assessment, we do the recommendations, and then usually VR puts that into motion, and the end product is usually makes the farmer more successful with their ability to do their work with a disability.
Husker Harvest Days, it's all about innovation in agriculture, and right here we see innovation meeting to help keep those who are passionate about ag in the industry. Reporting from Husker Harvest Days, I'm Clay Patton.
Well, thanks so much, Clay. And, I personally know a farmer that has had the great benefits of the AgriAbility. Chad Korth had back injuries, but he is still able to raise cattle because of what AgriAbility did for him. And he actually gives back as well, coming here to work their booth at Husker Harvest Days. Well, speaking of, Matt Youngman joins us. We are into day 3. It is going to be absolutely beautiful. It was kind of nice to know we didn't need to do any sort of adjusting to the schedule today because Mother Nature moved right around us.
Yeah, we missed a whole lot of rains yesterday. The folks just west of us, they certainly got a big hit, but I think we ended up with about 4/10 here at the show site, and so we'll have a 10 o'clock meeting today to decide what that means for the field demonstrations. But we were just talking off air that the streets are already drying out and the parking lots are holding up great. The weather's going to be perfect. Should be the best day of the 3 to come to Husker Harvest Days.
We had a great turnout yesterday. It was nice to see the future of agriculture out there working hard, asking questions.
Yeah, setting records on the food drive as well. All those kids that came yesterday brought 5 canned food items and got in the gates for free. So that's a big food drive for the local community here, and fills the streets, and certainly a lot of energy up and down the streets on Wednesdays.
So what can we expect in day number 3?
So it's a carbon copy. We work really hard to make sure that all 3 days are exactly the same. So no matter what day you come, you get to see the same great show. And typically, almost always, Thursday is the lightest crowd. So you can get around here, maybe even find a couple deals here and there on things that maybe an exhibitor doesn't want to truck back home.
And your International Visitor Center has been very busy.
Yeah, and we had a great visit from the governor yesterday, and he spent quite a bit of time there, and it's kind of an initiative from his office that got this started. So that international component of the show is something, now that we have this beautiful infrastructure, we want to share it with not just Nebraska, not just the Midwest, but share it with the whole world. So it's the best outdoor farm show facility in the world. Why not open the doors and let folks from all over the globe come and see it?
And most importantly, it wasn't just a building. You had international visitors.
Yeah, we had, the governor told me yesterday that 6 of the 7 continents were represented, and Antarctica, it doesn't grow a lot of crops, so we'll just call it all the continents that have any crops or livestock had representation here on the grounds yesterday. So a great first year for the International Visitor Center.
And hats off to your staff again. We cannot finish up a show without talking about them and all the work that leads up to this show. And you're already planning for 2020.
Yeah, the conversations are already started, and you're exactly right. I can't thank everybody. If I start listing people, I'll miss somebody, but everybody knows who they are, and it takes a ton of everybody's life to make this happen. There's a bunch of tired people tonight that have worked really hard to make a great show.
Well, we appreciate you coming by and giving us an update of what we can expect for day 3.
Thank you.
We'll send it back to you, Bryce.
Thanks so much, Susan and Matt. And Matt, of course, thanks for coming over here all 3 days of the show, giving us a little bit of a preview. He mentioned the weather. Everybody wants to know what's going on with the weather. Bill says today's going to be one of the best days, as Matt said. So, Bill, take it away with this morning's weather forecast.
Well, I told you it was coming. You got to enjoy this cooler air. We had some thunderstorms move through the area overnight. That rain's going to push east of us. Not going to see any of that around here today. It'll be to our east. Much cooler, not as humid. You probably noticed that as well. And it is going to be breezy at times. That's the only downside of this cold front, is it brought in some breezier conditions. But look where we got with this cold front already. We're in the low to mid 60s, upper 60s in our area, 75. Still Falls City and Beatrice, but look what's coming back behind us in the Panhandle. 50 in Sidney, 51 Chadron and Scotts Bluff. Those temperatures look very, very nice. They're coming our way. You can see here in central Nebraska, it's 62 in Lexington, up in Ocado, near 70 in Hastings, 68 here in Grand Island, over at 70 York, 69 in Sutton. Winds are up there already in that 5 to 10 mile an hour range. They're going to increase a little more this morning, and we're going to be a little breezy at times. That's really the only downside of today, is some of the breezes, and it'll be afternoon or so when they really pick up, 15 to 25, not as windy as yesterday. And look at these temperatures in the low to mid 70s as we go through the afternoon hours. It's going to be a much more comfortable day here in Husker Harvest Days. And that rain to our east, it's pushed to the east. The clouds are going to go with it as well. We're going to have clearing skies all across the state and a lot of sunshine as we go through the afternoon and evening hours. And tonight, after the show's all over with, things are going to be very pleasant for your drive wherever you're heading to or from the event tonight. No issues going on. High temperatures are going to be much, much cooler today. Mid and upper 60s out here in the Panhandle, near 70 in central Nebraska, low to mid 70s, some upper 70s here in our area, and then near 80 or so in the eastern portions of the state. So not a whole lot to worry about temperature-wise, and that big sigh of relief is coming. So for today, 76, clouds early, mainly sunny this afternoon. It is going to be breezy at times. We'll see those early morning clouds kick out of here. Winds are at about 15 to 25 miles an hour out of the west-northwest. That's it. That's all we have to worry about are some breezes. But notice they're coming out of the west-northwest, bringing cooler air instead of those southerly winds that we've had the last couple of days, pumping in that humid air into the region. So enjoy it. A much more comfortable, albeit breezy, last day at Husker Harvest Days. Bryce.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for the weather reports of the last 3 days. We sure appreciate that. And Susan, a little windy yesterday.
It was a little windy yesterday, and it's going to be windy again today, so it's definitely going to be a ponytail alert day out here at Husker Harvest Days. Had a lot of folks stop by saying, we hear you talk a ponytail alert day. We make sure we have them packed in our bags.
No matter how hard I try, I don't think I can make a ponytail.
I know. Well, we could work on it, but we could do it with Chad Moyer. We'll work on that.
Chad's beard could be on the alert. Oh, my goodness. Well, we have enjoyed showcasing some of the fine food establishments. Yesterday we did the Hula Hut phenomenal breakfast burritos.
The best.
But this morning, I think you might be more excited about this one.
This is like the pinnacle because the bacon burger and the breakfast sandwiches that they have at the pork place are amazing. And don't forget the beans that you can buy when you're there as well. But these burgers, like I said, I've been trying for 20 plus years to figure out what the secret sauce is. I've got it almost mastered, but I'm missing like 1 or 2 ingredients.
I have to admit something now. When I went over there yesterday, for whatever reason, in my head, and I swear it used to be called this, I thought it used to be called the Pork Palace. Matt Youngman said at some point maybe it was called that. Still folks referring to it, and myself including. So I called it the Pork Palace a couple of times in the report. So I want to lead in before this with that disclaimer.
That's okay.
It's delicious pork, so truly they're the king of it. They are the Pork Palace, in my opinion. But
Thank
it is
you.
the pork place.
Yes, and thank you to all the pork producers that worked so we could have a great sandwich.
Well, let's check out this morning's HHD Eats segment.
Sarah has been gracious enough to give us kind of the behind-the-scenes tour of what's going on here. I know you guys have a diverse menu. My favorite item, though, is the breakfast pork sandwich. It's got to be one of the fan favorites around here, too, isn't it?
It has grown. That's a newer sandwich we introduced just a couple years ago, and every year we've increased the numbers on it, and we're happy to see that.
Well, as Hannah pans around here, we can see folks are still busy as we record this on Wednesday afternoon. They're busy putting some burgers together, it looks like.
Yes, we go right up until 5 o'clock. We kind of get a late afternoon rush with people trying to eat on their way home.
And we're walking toward what looks delicious, that being root beer floats, Sarah. On a hot day like today, that's going to be extremely popular.
Yes, we go through gallons and gallons of vanilla ice cream for our floats. And it varies year to year, but this is definitely a great float year.
One of the great aspects of Husker Harvest Days has to do with the funds that are generated from these concession stands all go back to youth in some way, shape, or form. What's the case for the Pork Palace?
So here we are a little different. We're not a booster club. We're not going towards sports. The funds that we raise here goes directly to the general fund of the school. So this pays the teachers, it pays the utilities, it goes to the actual funding of the school.
And which school is that specifically?
This goes to Sutton Christian School. It's a small school just on the outside of Sutton.
How long have you been volunteering here?
This is my 9th year, I believe.
And Sarah, we appreciate you taking the time and giving us this behind-the-scenes sneak peek.
And there they are. This is called the Breakfast Deluxe Sandwich. Check that out. We got cheese, we got pork, we got egg on the top.
It's glorious. Of course, the bacon burger that everybody loves as well.
Oh yeah, those look delicious. We can't wait to dive into those as soon as we get off set. Maybe we'll wait this morning.
Yeah, people don't need to hear us chew. That's not the best.
Well, this is the third and final day. That means we're going to wrap up our broadcast here in a few moments. But Susan, some final thoughts from you on reflection of the 2019 Husker Harvest Days.
Well, it has been an absolutely great time. 3 fun-packed, I should say 2 1/4 at this point, but it's been a great show, and we really look forward to seeing more folks as they come out here to Husker Harvest Days to enjoy the last day, the beautiful weather. I want to ask you, before I give you mine, what was your favorite highlight so far of Husker Harvest Days 2019?
For me, covering on behalf of the Rural Radio Network, has just been being able to see the folks that we get to interact with on the radio and television every day as they come up and say, oh, we enjoy the reports, etc. And then also being able to uncover some of these stories we've been able to share in the Sunrise Report. It's been a lot of fun showcasing things like the agribility from this morning's report, the stock dog demonstrations yesterday. It's pretty fun and unique things that you don't always see, and we're happy to do it.
Definitely. For me, it was getting a chance to talk to those that follow us along, whether it's on social media. We had a gentleman drive all the way down from Minnesota, And it was funny because Chad Moyer, he and I were standing there and instantly fell into that Minnesota dialect. I'll be posting some pictures later this morning on my Twitter page. We show what happens when Minnesotans try to eat lutefisk. There's a picture of that.
But it was, what that is.
You plug your nose and you eat fast.
You Minnesotans are a different breed up there.
Of course we are. But it's just a chance to interact and really catch up. And for somebody, it's really like a family reunion. I heard that mentioned more times, that sometimes this is where people meet to catch up.
It is. Once a year it happens, and it'll be here before we know it.
Oh, and I got to give a shout out to Hannah. Hannah has done an excellent job, not only behind the camera, but in front of the camera as well.
And speaking of Hannah, we have one more final segment as she headed out to the Farm Bureau as we get a little behind-the-scenes tour of their building and also talk about some of their Farm Bureau memberships. So camera girl Hannah is standing by with that report.
Well, good morning, Bryce and Susan. Beginning of day 3 here. Phil Erdman from Nebraska Farm Bureau. We're tired, so we're going to sit here and have a chat and talk about member benefits with Farm Bureau, starting off with these gloves. How can I get these?
Well, Hannah, these gloves are available to Farm Bureau members. You bring your membership card or one of the postcards that we mailed out to members across the state. These gloves are available for our members because they work hard every day, and so we want to make sure that they've got good equipment when they do that work.
Speaking of equipment, I know there's even more benefits of being a Farm Bureau member. Can you tell me about those?
Absolutely. So we have about 45 member benefit partners that we partner with to give discounts to our Farm Bureau members. As we think about what it means to be in agriculture, there's a lot of expenses, a lot of costs. And so one of the things that we try to do is to demonstrate the savings they can get from, as you can see, John Deere and Ford behind us, to Caterpillar, Grasshopper, Yamaha, Case IH, Chief. Like all of those folks who are here at Husker Harvest Days have information about how to use your member benefit as a Farm Bureau member. And so we like to say the membership fee is small, but the benefits are not. With over 45 benefit partners, in addition to being the voice of farm and ranch families and agriculture in Nebraska, we think it's worth the money.
And it's worth stopping by Farm Bureau booth here at Husker Harvest Days. I'm Hannah Borg, and back to you, Bryce and Susan.
All right, thanks, Hannah, for your special reports from our Sunrise Report sponsor this year, the Nebraska Farm Bureau. Again, we thank them. They're right next to where we're at here at the shows, so if you're coming out still today, be sure to stop by. Grab those pair of gloves if you're a Farm Bureau member.
You know, those gloves are absolutely amazing, and they're long-lasting. They'll help protect your hands as you're out there getting ready to do chores, because before you know it, the snow will be falling.
Don't say that.
I know, but...
Don't say that.
I talked to Bryce Anderson yesterday. He gave me the insight. We might not see snow around here till November.
That would be nice.
So I told him we'll check back if it happens before that.
Well, we'll be here next year, but this will wrap up our broadcast for the 2019 Husker Harvest Days. Again, we thank you for coming along on this journey. For Susan Littlefield, I'm Bryce Duske. We leave you with this picturesque view of Husker Harvest Days.